Ashraf Khalil is an author and contributor to Time and Foreign Policy magazines. He joins me now live from Cairo. How will the violence in Cairo and across Egypt affect long-term the governance of Egypt?
Well, it's something that looks to have extreme long-term effects and potentially be a long-term source of instability. In the short term, it clears away an obstacle to the transitional government to get on with the business of governing and organizing what they say is this transitional roadmap to get us back to an elected civilian leadership. In the long term, you have basically sent the largest, most mature venerable Islamist organization, the Muslim Brotherhood, sending them back underground as an aggrieved and marginalized group. And they're going to remember that they won every election that they entered. I can't imagine the psychological impact this is going to have on the Muslim Brotherhood going forward, and how they react to this is going to be one of the most telling aspects in the sense of long-term stability for Egypt.
What will be the thinking then at the top of the interim government now, having seen the violence and having seen the condemnation? And I suspect we'll probably see more condemnation when Obama speaks in the next hour. So will they know they've got it wrong, or will that bother them?
I would imagine that the interim government, interim president Adli Mansour, is going to forge ahead as much as possible and try to put as normal a face on this as possible and represent a government going about its business of governing and try to put something tangible on the table as soon as possible. And he's going to be very much hamstrung. The loss of Mohammed al-Baradei from the government is going to loom very large in the coming days, because al-Baradei, really more than anyone else in the government, he was the most high-profile, most credible international advocate. He was putting his reputation on the line, defending this as a Nobel Peace Prize laureate, and defending this move to America, to the international community, as a necessary step to avoid disaster. So the loss of Baradei as an international advocate is going to be very important for Mansour's government going forward, I would imagine.
Do you see democracy still being on the Egyptian political agenda?
It's going to take a while to, it comes down to a semantic debate about how are you defining democracy. Even if we have successful and peaceful parliamentary elections and presidential elections over the next 6 months, extending into next spring, are these going to happen without the participation of the Muslim Brotherhood? And if the Muslim Brotherhood is angrily sitting out whatever proceedings, doesn't that call into a question the legitimacy of those elections and the true democratic credentials of any government that emerges from those elections? So it's going to be tricky without somehow inducing the Muslim Brotherhood to return to public life. And it's very difficult to imagine that taking place right now.
All right, Ashraf Khalil, many thanks to you for joining us.